Welcome to Restoration Beyond the Couch. I'm Dr. Lee Long, and today I'm joined by Mark Foster, a therapist here at Restoration. In this episode, we're having an honest conversation about grief, the reality behind moving on, the myths that keep us stuck, and the transformative truth that grief isn't something to overcome, but something to learn to carry with grace and wisdom. Whether you're walking through your own grief, supporting someone you love through loss, or helping your community heal from collective trauma, this episode offers practical strategies for navigating grief as a pathway to deeper connection, meaning and ultimately restored freedom. Your path to mental wellness starts here. Well, welcome, Mark Foster. I'm glad that you're here today to talk with me and our listeners about the concept of grief and about just the heaviness of it, but also the acceptance of it and the way through it. Yeah. And I know you've been a therapist for 3 decades or more, and you've worked with a lot of families and a lot of people who've walked through some really hard times. So I'm glad you're here with us today.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here too, and not a fun thing to talk about, but necessary.
Yeah. It's interesting though to think about like grief and how we expect the DSM-5, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, 5th edition, says grief is supposed to resolve in 6 months.
Right.
And I don't know what your take is on that, but man, mine, I don't know that grief resolves in 6 months.
Right.
I mean, I remember, you know this, but I lost my parents, both of them, probably 18, almost 19 years ago now, 5 weeks to the day apart. And I remember my mom died first, and she's such a sweet lady, came in. She was the hospice social worker. And she came in and she said, I don't know what to say to you guys. I'm sorry that you lost your mom, and she said a few things, and I thought, yeah. Grief, right? And then my dad died literally, 5 weeks to the day.
Man.
And she walked in and she said, I don't know what to say to you. She said, this is a lot and it's overwhelming. Yeah. And it was kind of like Charlie Brown teacher, like, wah, 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 wah. Right. But then she said something. She said, I want to leave you guys with this. She said, grief is like a blanket. She said, it is going to, for a period of time, it is going to live over you. And she said, at some point, you're going to be able to stand up and you're going to fold the blanket, but you're not ever going to be able to throw the blanket out.
Wow.
She said, you'll put the blanket on the shelf, and at times you're going to need to take the blanket down. And sometimes you're going to need to hunker down under that blanket. And she said, those times, honor them. But don't make your life a tent under the blanket. And it was one of the most powerful things. And I remember just stopping, saying, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And when I think about our field saying grief is supposed to resolve within 6 months, I often wonder if they mean you're not going to live under the tent of the blanket for 6 months.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, like I said, almost 19 years in, this past Christmas, for whatever reason,
man,
I needed that blanket sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know. What's your take?
Oh, I agree. I think it's a great illustration or picture.
Yeah.
Maybe the DSM is saying you'll fold it in 6 months.
Right.
If you're fortunate, but I don't think that can ever be hard and fast. Yeah. Because people go through this at their own pace, in their own way, and it is always going to be there. I lost my dad over a year ago. Yeah. And I'm still having times where it hits me, and I need to experience that. Yeah. I know it's kind of maybe jumping ahead of the way it goes, but just to say something I realized just this week about it, that the realization of my dad now like where I believe he is and the perfected state he's in, helps me look back on who he was in my past. And I can see those good things with dignity. And I can look at them without any incrimination and go, that was a bit of the picture that I know you're just completed in now. And helps me honor those things and not ignore them because of the things he did that weren't a part of the picture that he is now.
Right.
But it just let me honor that. And sometimes I've thought people, when they are grieving and they lose somebody, that they deify that person. You know,
yes.
They make them a saint. I'm like, no, I remember they weren't really all.
Yeah, I mean, right. Like I remember there's plenty of stories I can say, boy, that's a dad issue or that was a mom thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what it's helped me do is to say, yeah, that was true. And so was this. And I can see that now with more joy and honoring and fullness without any kind of lingering, yeah, but. You know, it's just, yeah, it was. Yeah. And it is. And it will be just something. So it kind of goes back and forth from the picture I know where he is now to the picture where he was then and where that is in me right now.
Yeah.
And it really helps me move forward with hope.
So it's not overlooking who he is and who he was.
No.
It's accepting that and saying, yeah, at times you had grief. I mean, we both had grief in their lifetime that they inflicted. Yeah. But it's honoring what the completion that you know he's operating in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important to note that grief evolves. You know, and I think that's what the blanket analogy was. Grief will evolve. It does not come to an end.
Absolutely.
And I know one of the things that, man, both of us have sat with parents who have lost their children. Yeah. When grief gets out of order. Yeah. When loss, maybe it's not grief gets out of order, but loss is out of order. Like that's not the design, right? The design is that as a parent, you outlive your kid.
Right.
But in the brutal, unfortunate time that isn't the case, it is out of order. Yeah. Yeah. And I know that one of the things that I've sat with parents who have had that unfortunate misordered event, that one of the things that they stick with is I don't want to move on. I don't want to move on because I feel like I'm going to leave them behind. Have you had that same experience?
Oh, absolutely. I know it, but I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
I don't want to. And it's not moving on without them. It's moving on with those things like we were talking about just now, with the honoring of them. And I always kind of talk about that with them is tell me about them. Tell me about what they were like. What were the good times? What made you laugh? And I've had part of grief is remembering that and crying and laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that. I always tell parents, you're not moving on because you can't. No. But you're moving with.
That's right.
Because they're not defined by that one ill-fated day that they were taken from your presence. Right. But instead it's you're moving with where they currently are. Yeah.
And that changes us. I mean, there's a huge change in their absence and the impact of that on us. And we move forward with that. And I do think as Christians who know where they are, it is a huge blessing to know that I am moving with you where you are. Almost everybody, Christian or not, that I have talked to will tell me, I think I felt their presence yesterday.
Yeah.
Or it's almost as if, or maybe I did, hear them say something to me.
Yeah.
And I used to, in my younger days, poo-poo that. I mean, that's a technical term, poo-poo.
Of course it is.
Thank you. But I don't now, man. Yeah. I think maybe having gone through it with families and friends and then my own, I really do believe that there is a sense of and a reality of that presence with us. Mm-hmm. It's not made up.
I can't tell you how many parents I have heard tell a very similar story of, I remember one father who lost his children. Mm-hmm. And he said, I was working on something in my office. I was in a conference room. And he said, all of a sudden, I felt one of my kids basically come to me and audibly say, Dad, I'm good. And I need to know you are too. And it was a moment for him.
Wow.
And I think the
mm-hmm.
I didn't expect to be impacted like this. Because he cried through the whole thing. And I cried with him through the whole thing. Because it's so out of order. Mm-hmm. And for him to have that gift, that experience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Was so profound. Mm-hmm. And it was such a moment of normalizing for him. Mm-hmm. Like you said, that there may be those moments.
Yeah.
And not to technically poo-poo them, but to really embrace them and enjoy them, that they're a gift.
That's right. That's right.
That's
right.
But I think you're right. And I think that was a moment for him where he could move with.
That's right. That's right.
Because there was that space of, I know you're okay. And people may say, like people who consider themselves like logical thinkers may say, right. Oh, well, that just was a moment that your mind created. No. Hey, and here's my statement to that is, okay, so what?
Yeah. Right.
If it brought you peace and it's not destroying anybody else or taking anything from anybody else, like, why does it matter? Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And so what a beautiful experience for people to have.
I got to share one now.
Come on.
I was cleaning out my parents' house after Dad died. And I was going through his clothes. My dad's very meticulous, to be generous. And I literally came down to the last pair of pants, and I thought, man, I just wish that there was, oh man, I'm going to cry. I wish there was something here that was just, I could remember him by. And I literally heard, look in the pocket. I looked in that pocket, and there was his silver dollar that he carried with him every day. And I wish I could pull it out now and show you that I have it, but I don't wear it. I don't put it in the pockets that it might fall out. Because I don't want to lose that sucker. It's in my nightstand, Yeah. But I just thought, how did I hear that? How did I know that pocket, that pair of pants? That was either God or my dad. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Either way, it's comfort.
Yes.
Either way, it's the allowing to move with, not to move on. It's like losing a body part.
Yeah.
It's like you can learn to function without a leg, but you will always remember, you will always have that with you.
That's right.
I know that as we grieve, it's like, it's certainly not a linear pattern. I know there's, we have the 5 stages of grief, right? The denial, the anger, the bargaining, the depression, the acceptance, which is what's interesting about those 5 is those were observations of dying patients.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the survivors who are grieving. But I do think that a lot of that does apply.
Yeah.
And it's it's not like a timeline that you're going to, meticulously go through each of them.
No.
But it's like a weather pattern.
That's good.
It may be raining at lunch. Like you may be in denial at lunch and acceptance at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may go back to bargaining, and then you may go to depression, and you may go, right?
Yep. And, if you walk through this with, yourself or your family or people that like we get to do that with, you do see that there are seasons where they're really doing well. They've really moved with this. They're really seemingly going forward. And then they hit something you don't even know sometimes if they hit anything you can identify.
Right.
But they're back into maybe the bargaining part.
Right.
And they're really stuck there for a while. And with couples, especially when the death is out of order, when it's a child, we both know it's a high probability of they aren't going to make it. But they can if they'll go through it themselves and with their mate. And that bargaining place is the place where I find a lot of difficulties with that.
Yeah.
I'm blaming myself as a failure, and I know you are too. And the other one might be going, no, it's not even on my mind.
Right.
But I and it's that attempt for, I want to make sense. I might blame God. I might blame me. I might blame my mate. And
right.
And I know it's called the bargaining, but I call it the blaming.
I think that's right. And I think it's critical for us to make sure that we all understand your timeline is yours.
That's right.
And I think that's the difficulty in a marriage, because my timeline is mine and your partner's timeline is theirs. Mm-hmm. And our timelines may not match up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do we find that rhythm again as partners, as couples, as spouses, or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah. How
do I find that pattern, that rhythm again? Because it is asynchronous. Like it's not, we don't know how to synchronize it.
That's right.
And I think you're right. It's one of the, I don't want to say crazy things, but it feels crazy, is that angst. It's like, if you're not in my part of the timeline, it's that pain of having to sit where I am in my timeline and not push you or move you to where I feel like you need to be.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And and it's, it's almost helpful that we're not in the same place, because when you're there and I'm not, I can be there for you to help you move through that better. But if we're both there, then man, can be really difficult. Right. I remember the first time I sat through grief was with a teenager, and lost his parent, and I didn't want to be there. And somebody said, "Well, you're the minister; it's your job, so you got to go." And I remember I went in that day and I sat in. I can see that little room. It was the dining room, sitting around a little table, and I was there for 4 hours. I said hello. I ate the piece of chocolate cake. I said, well, I think I'm going to go. And I got up and I left.
4 hours later.
4 hours later.
Yeah.
And I watched everybody come in and say things. And a lot of things we say are just, help. Some are helpful. But like you said, that precious lady gave you a great visual. But a lot of people come in and say stuff. You're like, that doesn't help. Mm-mm. And I've had people tell me that.
And I think that's right. I mean, I remember standing in the receiving line with my siblings after my father passed. So now we are without both parents. And, it was so sorry for your loss. Well, they're in a better place. And I'm like, I kind of don't care.
Yeah, right.
I'd really rather have them right here with me.
Absolutely.
And it's like, well, all things work for good. And you're like, yeah. Screw you.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget one of my dad's really close friends. He, sorry for your loss. Sorry. And I'm the youngest. And so I was the last that he greeted.
Yeah.
And he looked at me because I was so young.
Yeah.
He looked at me and he said, this isn't fair. And I was like, and he said, this is BS. And he said not bad stuff, but he said the whole thing.
Not Bible study?
No. And he said, I'm just so angry for you.
Yeah.
And his wife was like slapping him, going, "Stop it. This is not okay." And I looked at her and I said, "No, this is the first honest conversation I've had today. Like, thank you."
Right.
Because it sucks and it's not fair.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be 30 something and dealing with the fact that I've lost my parents.
That's right. That's right.
And I think we get so afraid to call a spade when these parents lose their kids.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not right.
No.
It sucks. And there's nothing we can do to take it away.
That's right.
Except for just sit there.
That's it. That's my story that with that teenager. I thought I was like, man, I stunk as a minister, but I knew I didn't know what to say, so I wasn't going to say something that wouldn't be helpful. He came back to youth group 2 months later and gave his testimony and said, I wouldn't have made it through that day if it wasn't for Mark. And I was like, I didn't do anything, but I did. Mm-hmm. He could feel that I was feeling what he felt.
Yeah.
He knew I cared. He knew that I didn't know what to say, and that didn't matter because he didn't know what to say.
Right.
He was just suffering, and I was just sitting there with him.
There's no sense you can make out of it.
No.
There just isn't.
No.
I remember sitting with a couple, again, they'd lost a child, a child. Mm-hmm. And it had been longer than 6 months.
Yeah.
And I remember the husband looking at the wife saying, look, I'm ready for us to move on. Like, I'm ready for us to make a good life now for each other. Mm. And his sentiment was kind, and but his message was good. His method was so strong, though. And she needed some extra time and needed to sort through some of these things. And when he finally realized how she was seeing it, his impact, because his intent, like I was saying, his intent was good, but his impact was brutal. She would finally describe it as, it's like a 2x4 in my face. And he was like, whoa, no, I don't mean that at all. And as we worked through it, he was like, I just don't want to lose you too. And I was like, that's a good message.
That is.
Now, that's a good intent.
Yeah.
Now let's make your impact match that intent.
That's right.
And then he would just say what he wanted for her. I want for you to be able to hold this grief in a way that it doesn't take you away from the rest of us.
Yes.
And I think that's a genuine desire, right? But that's a hard one to do, because the question really was, how do I honor my kid's passing while still living fully? That was what he wanted. And she was like, I don't know how to live without having that role. And it really was trying to redefine that for her.
Wow. How hard would that be? That isn't going to happen quickly or easily.
No.
And you don't have to figure it all out. You just go through it with them. The irony is, I mean, the husband had a good intent, but to push would be to lose. That would make him lose her.
Right.
She has to go through this.
He was. That's why they showed up on the couch.
Right.
Yeah. But I think, one of the things that we worked with them on is, like you said, honoring that memory. Like you were talking about with the people you sat with. It's like, remind me again. Tell me about them. Like, I want to walk out of here having known that child, and giving space to those things.
And that is, this is so much of it. It's, yes, I see where he is or she is now, and that helps me move forward with this in a different way. And I can see that reflection back again to what I saw in him or her as a child. And I carry that with me as I go forward. And I don't forget that. It's like that blanket thing you said, I think. It's, I'm aware of it. I'm never, nobody is ever going to be completely resolved.
No.
And I'm not ever going to be the same. I'm changed by this. I'm not redefined by it. I'm still me, but I am changed. I am impacted in a way that I am different from now on. I can go on with that, But don't expect me to be the same. I've got to find a new way.
Yeah, there has to be an acknowledgement to that.
Yeah.
You know, people say, "Oh, I wish it could be what it was." And it's like, yeah, it's never going to be.
No.
And I've seen parents continue to live a meaningful life.
Yeah.
And not dishonor.
Yeah.
So let me say that in the positive. I've seen parents go on and live a meaningful life and honor that child that they lost. I had one dad who lost his daughter. Whew.
Yeah. I know.
Sometimes what we do is hard.
You know, I just was thinking that. I think lots of things are hard that we do, but I think this one is the hardest.
Yeah. There's a different cry.
Yeah.
There's a different guttural place that you sit with.
Yeah.
And it's like, you go back to that and it's like, that is so familiar. And I just remember he came in and said, "I'm a lost cause. I can't keep living." And walking through that and saying, "Let's just stay right where you are."
Yeah.
And let's sort through that. And we'll make meaning of it, but it's never going to go away.
That's right.
And he learned to live with, to move with that grief. And he found things that they shared, like that they loved and connected over.
Yeah.
And he did those things.
That's right.
And he was like, "That's my way of connecting with her."
That's right.
And he even began to find joy in those things.
Wow.
And greater meaning in those things.
Yeah.
And it was really beautiful and what an honor it was to walk with him in that, to find those meaningful places.
Yeah. Yeah.
To meet her, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I've even seen parents develop ministries out of the loss, you know, and that's good, but it's got to be. I mean, I've seen where one person wanted it to be a ministry, and the other one was doing what you said. It's like, I'm not ready. I'm not there. I can't let go. I can't move forward that fast, and I can't make it something else. That's not where I'm finding meaning yet.
Right.
And I think even when you're making meaning out of it into some kind of new experience, which is important to move forward, it's more of an inclusion than a replacement. You know? I'm going forward in this new way with this experience, and I want you to know about this person.
Right.
And we're going to do this together, and I'm sharing it with you. And I enjoyed it with them, and I want to enjoy it with you. And I'm having kind of both of those experiences as we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, my kids there were only two of them on the ground, and they were very little, and one of them that never met my parents. And one of the things that that I've tried to do is say, "Oh man, your grandparents would love to have known this about you," or "I wish you could have known them in this way." And it's interesting, at times I'll hear them say, "Oh, this would have been really cool for Papa," or "This would have been really cool for Grandma," or "This would have been," you know what I mean? And so that's always meaningful to me, is like, they live on, you know, and it's like that growth, that, as we call it in our field, post-traumatic growth, right? Yeah. Because, you know, you have post-traumatic stress, or PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah. And but there's also PTG, like that post-traumatic growth.
We should put that in there.
But it's that can coexist. Yep. Like, it's not moving on without them. No. It's moving with.
Yeah. I once worked with just somebody who'd lost his spouse, and they were well connected, had a lot of friends, and the friends came over that next week because that was their regular time to meet.
Oh, wow.
I know. I was like, "Were you ready for that?" And he goes, "I didn't know." But so when they came over, they weren't telling me what I had heard from other people, like, "I'm so sorry for your loss." They were telling me, I remember this about her. And doing this reminds me of how she would have wanted this. And that was her favorite dish. And I know she would be laughing right over there in that chair. And that was a lot for him. And yet he said that was so healing for him, because I recognized she was going on not just with me, but with them.
Right.
And we were in this together.
Right. And it's knowing that impact, right?
Yep.
Like knowing that legacy doesn't just, like, it's not all, the weight's not all on you to carry it on.
No. Can't be. It's too much.
Yeah.
That's,
yeah.
That's why we need each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I think what's so funny is I've known you for, I don't know, more than 20 years.
Yeah.
And I can probably think of a time, I'm trying to think of the times you and I have sat around and cried about something.
Yeah.
I think we could count them on maybe one or two hands.
Right.
And it's like, thinking about this, it's like, grief is painful.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like creating space for people to walk through these things.
Yeah.
But it's also, I don't know, it doesn't have to all be the negatives. Like you said about this guy who is, his group came over and they sat around and they laughed and they remembered her, and that's honoring as well.
That's right.
And like you said, it's okay to say, I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know one of my sisters lost her first husband just out of the blue.
Yeah.
And I just thought, what can I do, to play a part in the healing of this,
Yeah.
And I remember I said to myself, okay, you're going to call her every morning and you're going to say, all right, how'd you sleep? What's on your day today? And, just talk to me about you and where you are. Mm-hmm. And it was a ritual for a long time,
man,
and that's been many years ago. Gosh, like maybe 15 years ago.
That's awesome.
But that was our way, my way of trying to contribute.
Yeah.
I never really asked her if that was a good thing for her.
I'm sure it was.
I'm joking. So,
and like everybody, that moving forward, and having support is so crucial. I'll hear a joke and I can't believe how many times, my dad and I had the same sense of humor, and
yeah, you did.
That was a way to connect. And I'll read a joke and I'll go, "Oh, Dad would like," and then I'll think, "No, you're laughing right now."
I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I do the same thing. That's funny. It's like, I wish I could call my parents and just tell them.
That's right.
I don't have to pick up the phone.
That's right.
Yeah,
they're watching. They can hear.
Yeah.
And then I call my brother and tell him, and he's like, "Yep, that would have made Dad laugh."
Yeah.
Sometimes he doesn't laugh, but
yeah. Yeah, I think too, one of the things that I hope anybody listening who, is comforting somebody, that, it's okay to say, like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm just here, and I want you to know I'm with you. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what you need.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
That's it. That's it.
And I always appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know that, I think we believe we have to have the right thing to say.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No.
But I will tell you this. I remember when my brother-in-law passed, I know, people were, because it was very close to when my parents had passed. Mm-hmm. And so it just kind of felt like, gosh, one loss after the next. And it's like, people would meet me with their grief. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I can't attend to you too.
Right.
But there was a difference between meeting me in my grief and your grief too, where we can grieve together, as opposed to you're crying, I'm not.
Yeah.
And like, okay, we're in the grocery store and I don't know that, you're anyway laying your grief on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that's a hard ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you lose somebody,
Yeah.
and they may not have been as close to you
Mm-hmm.
as they were to the person,
Mm-hmm.
that is a hard kind of,
Mm-hmm.
situation to navigate.
Yeah.
But I do think it's being sensitive to, am I trying to hand you my grief?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
It's like the harmful phrases, the everything happens for a reason.
Oh, my gosh.
They're better off, or,
Mm.
that kind of stuff
And it's okay to be irrational.
yeah.
It's okay to lose your bearings. I mean, this is an adjustment, I remember a kid that I went through this with him. He had lost his brother. And he told me at the wake, all of his relatives, all of the people he hadn't seen were there. And he said, and I was really having fun. And I was running around looking for my brother to tell him how fun it was.
Yeah.
And I realized that he's not here.
Right.
That's the point. He said, I couldn't believe that he wasn't there to share in that joy that I usually have.
Right.
Him to share it with,
Right.
It's irrational. He knew it. He doesn't need to be corrected or guided or directed. He just needs to be held. We get through it better with just being held than being directed.
Right.
That messes up the process.
Right.
Yeah.
And that held is a figurative held.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not.
Yeah, that's right.
But I do think if you're grieving alongside with someone, it really is about following their lead.
Absolutely.
Because I know there have been times where people that I'm walking with, that they've been, full of grief, and they don't want to talk about their loved one.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, okay,
All right. That's right.
what do you want to talk about? And what's always so interesting is 5 minutes in, they're like, okay, I want to talk about it now.
Yeah. Right.
But not always.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying, like people meeting me with their grief, and it's like, wait,
Yeah.
I'm not there right now.
That's right.
And you're handing me a big burden of your grief.
That's right.
So it really is like trying to read their cues. And
Yeah.
even asking the question,
Yeah.
finally the person that was draped over me crying their eyes out about the loss, had they stepped back and said, you're not in that place right now, are you? I would have said, no, not really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's, I don't want to come across as like, we're saying, read the tea leaves,
Yeah.
but then be authentic.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, be authentic. If you're there and they're not, ask the question. If they're not, then excuse yourself.
That's right. Absolutely.
Because look, no matter what, whether it's your grief or whether it's the grief that you're watching somebody else go through, it changes you, as evidenced by us sitting right here,
That's right.
tearing up over people we've walked with very closely
Yeah.
throughout the years.
Yeah. And I think this is why it's hard for couples. What we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
I may not be in the place to be able to hold you, to be with you emotionally with that right now, or physically. And it's, not that you're always not going to be in that place, but sometimes, and just to say that and to be honest about that, and that's okay. And that's hard, but it's worse if you ignore that and try to forge on ahead and make it work.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
And accepting that you're just not where I'm at, or I'm not where you're at.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I read this quote that rituals give structure to chaos and meaning to loss. And, thinking about things that like community loss, like a big, tragic, devastating loss, like what we've experienced as a community here in Texas, down at the Hill Country with that massive flooding.
Oh my gosh.
And I see people reminiscing about their time at those camps, or I've talked with people reminiscing about their times at the ranch, that, and I don't know. I think again that it's like that quote that structures the chaos and helps bring meaning to the loss. I've seen some little girls writing songs, about that experience. And I just think, what a powerful outlet.
Yeah.
Giving meaning to that.
Yeah.
And I think too, grief shows up in our bodies.
Oh yeah.
Before we get it into our heads.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Exhausted.
Yeah.
Heaviness. I don't want to move.
Tension.
Yeah. Headaches. Yeah. Or conversely, I just want to get going. I just want to get busy. I just want to move. I want to do something,
Yeah.
Okay. It's just noticing that. Where is that coming from?
Right.
Yeah.
I often talk to people about the idea that when you find your shoulders up in your ears,
yeah,
can you bring them down,
mm-hmm.
and can you see if you can do some relaxation? Mm-hmm. Like if they're up by your ears, tighten them higher, and then see if you can drop them.
Yeah, yeah.
If you find that you're holding your breath, let's see if you can take a deep breath
and hold it,
yeah, and then let it out,
yeah,
and then hold it,
yeah,
and then another deep breath in and hold it.
Yep.
We call that we do that in 4-second intervals.
Yep.
4 seconds in.
Yep.
Holding it for 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
4 seconds out. Holding it for 4 seconds and a repeat.
Yep.
We call that 4 square breathing. And
mm-hmm.
it's really interesting because it's the holding of the breath in between.
Yeah. That
really serves to reset our nervous system.
That's right. And it is relaxing. It is grounding. You know? And you may become aware of stress in your body that you were unaware of.
Right.
And you're aware of, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm still here. I still count. I still matter.
Yeah, because there's a lot of survivor's guilt.
Oh my God.
Why wasn't it me, or I didn't lose my kids, or especially when you're walking with people.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it could have been me instead.
Yeah.
I just think you're right.
Yeah.
It's like it's finding meaning in those moments.
Yeah. Yeah. And it will be different for everybody, different times. Like we were saying earlier, I love what you said about being like a weather. It's not a linear thing. It's like the weather, and different intensities, different times. If you think you're through it and then it repeats, something hits you, and you just let it happen when it happens. You don't force it and you don't avoid it. You just go with it. Mm-hmm. And to do that with people, and to know that, like, I love the blanket thing too. I'm sorry, going back to your illustrations, but it is how it goes, and we can go through it. Mm-hmm. We go through it better with people who don't try to guide us. They just are with us.
Right.
And then we do the memorial thing. Just think about, all the ways that the rituals that we have, the places that we go that we know they liked, doing the things that we know they like to do, and including others in that eventually is the moving forward in a different way. I don't have to avoid those places.
Right.
I don't have to camp out there.
Right.
I'm just going there and experiencing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad he was a musician, and he had a love for music, and he was a conductor. Mm-hmm. And at parts of his life and career, he was a conductor. And I just remember I couldn't go to, I didn't want to go to anything where there was an orchestra for a period of time.
I bet. Yeah.
And then I remember being in a service in a place where there was going to be an orchestra. And I remember the way that the conductor raised his arms to start to get the orchestra's attention. Yeah. It literally stopped. Like it took my breath away because it was far enough away, and the guy was a similar age to my dad.
Yeah.
And he was an older gentleman, and it was like, man, it just caught me. And it was like, what is this? And it was just it was a torrential downpour of grief all of a sudden, right? Because there it was.
Yeah.
And, I let myself tear up over it, and I enjoyed what I saw.
Yep.
And I didn't try to make meaning out of it.
No.
I just let it wash over me.
There you go.
Because I think all too often you know, it's like going out in the beach. Mm-hmm. It's like you can fight the water, you can fight the waves, but they are going to win. And, you know, or you can work with the waves.
That's right.
And know you're going to get wet if you're in the water. So I think it's really about just acknowledging what it is.
Yeah.
And rolling with it. And knowing that if you're a person caring for someone in grief, fatigue is a very real thing. Mm-hmm. Burnout, overwhelm is a very real thing. And just because you go on with your day to enjoy your, you know, if you have a friend who lost a child and you enjoy your children, you're not dishonoring your friend.
No.
You're honoring your life, and you're honoring your friend as well.
Yeah.
Because boy, they'd give anything.
That's right.
To enjoy that kid in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think it's important to know that it's, you know, if you're in the midst of grieving, allow yourself to be where you are. Mm-hmm. And if you are walking alongside someone, same advice, allow yourself to be where you are. Mm-hmm. Don't take on their grief.
That's right. That's right. That's good. Just be with them.
Right. Yeah. Man, I think we've walked through a pretty heavy subject here.
Yep.
And I'm glad I walked through it with you.
You too, man. Thanks.
And hopefully, you know, I guess what I hope that people will take from this is grief is hard.
Yeah.
And there's no linear way through it.
Nope.
And just being with, showing up as you.
Yeah.
And just allowing them to show up as them and do the best you can with the in-between.
Oh, that's good. That's it.
Thanks, Mark Foster.
Thank you.